What if the name you use every Sunday is not his real name? What if everything you've been taught about the name of Christ is wrong? In the next few minutes, you'll see the biblical evidence that could shake your faith to its core. Prepare to see a familiar face in a new light. For centuries, the world has known him as Jesus, etched into stone, sung in hymns, and whispered in prayers. It feels solid. It feels final. But in the dusty streets of first-century Judea, no one called him that. The name he heard from his mother, the name his followers called out to him, was something different. It was a name deeply rooted in the soil of his people, a name that carried the weight of history and the fire of prophecy. That name was Yeshua. The shift from Yeshua to Jesus is not a simple mistake of translation. It is the story of how a name journeyed across languages, cultures, and empires. When the story moved into the Greek-speaking world, Yeshua became Jesus. Later, through Latin and into English, Jesus became Jesus. Each step moved the name further from its original sound and, more importantly, from its explosive original meaning. Losing the name Yeshua is like watching a film in black and white when the director intended vibrant color. The name Jesus, familiar and comforting, can sometimes obscure the raw, specific context of his life, a stained glass saint floating above the grit of human history. But the name Yeshua pulls him back to earth, anchoring him in the long, dramatic story of Israel. He was a man of a particular time, a particular people, and a particular mission given to him by God. This is not to discard the name Jesus. It is an invitation to go deeper. The first great revelation is the name's direct meaning. Yeshua means salvation. He saves, derived from the Hebrew root yahshua, to rescue, to deliver, to save. Matthew 1:21. You are to give him the name Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins. The angel spoke a Hebrew concept. Matthew wrote in Greek. This reframes his life from passive to active rescue. Every miracle, every teaching, every confrontation was an expression of his name. The name was the job description, like a firefighter named Rescue. Salvation was not only a future event on a cross, it was a present reality through his ministry. Not just to be revered, Yeshua is to be called upon in desperation, a direct line to divine help. The second revelation connects Yeshua to a towering figure, Joshua. In Hebrew, Joshua is Yehoshua, the longer form of the same name, the Lord saves. Joshua led Israel across the Jordan into the Promised Land. He was a warrior and a leader, beginning to fulfill God's ancient promise. Hebrews 4:8-10 makes a stunning connection. The first Joshua is called Isus in Greek, the same name used for Jesus. If the first Joshua had given ultimate rest, God would not have spoken of another day. The implication, the first Joshua's work was incomplete. This new Yeshua leads not into a land of milk and honey, but into God's eternal rest, across the barrier of sin and death. He is the ultimate leader, the conqueror of spiritual enemies, the captain of our salvation. In a world with a crisis of leadership where politicians and influencers fail, the name Yeshua points to a leader who cannot fail. The third revelation, the name Yeshua is a nexus for prophecy. The Lord saves stamped across centuries. Look at Isaiah, yhwh. The Lord is salvation. Isaiah 53 shows a suffering servant whose pain brings healing and redemption. Yeshua ties the prophetic figure to a real person in history, God's salvation in the flesh. Many see chaos and ask if there's a plan. The name Yeshua testifies to God's sovereign plan unfolding across centuries. Our faith isn't new or mere philosophy. It's anchored in promises kept. Yeshua's name is evidence of God's faithfulness. This name reminds us we're in an ancient story. Our hope is in promises already fulfilled in Yeshua. The fourth revelation, Yeshua was a common name. Like Josh, he shared his neighbors' names and paths, named on the 8th day according to Jewish custom, rooted in family and community. Yeshua feels personal, the name a mother would call, the name friends would use over a meal. He experienced hunger, fatigue, friendship, betrayal. He was not a concept, he was a person. To know him as Yeshua is to know the man who walked the earth and understands our struggles. The fifth revelation, using the name Yeshua, is a political and spiritual act, realigning him with his Jewish identity. It resists efforts to sever Jesus from his roots and underscores God's enduring covenant with Israel. These revelations are not meant to replace the name Jesus, but to fill it with original power and meaning. Does knowing his name was Yeshua change the way you hear the call to follow him? Comment below and subscribe for more hidden Bible truths.